Welcome back. I'm Hallie with Handmade by Hallie. Thank you for joining me today. Today I have a simple Dollar Tree item I'd like to show you how to make. We're going to make a really cute patriotic butterfly. So So the first thing that you're going to need is you are going to need a set of these butterfly wings that you find at the Dollar Tree. This is a seasonal item, so hopefully they are in season when you're going to try and want to make this. I grabbed some when I saw them, not knowing what I was going to do, so I came up with this. So we start our project with this, and I came up with a butterfly body that will sit here. And so this is 13 inches long, 4 inches wide here, 4 inches wide here. I actually used a bowl to make the head and then start this shape. And so this is what we're going to use, and we're going to cut this out of a piece of foam core board that I also got at the Dollar Tree. We are going to then cover the body with some black fabric. We are going to decorate this with some red, white, and blue flowers, a little bit of greenery, and I have 2 ribbons here that we're going to use. The other things you'll need will be things like, stay there, some zip ties, a pipe cleaner, scissors, wire cutters, glue gun. We will need a Sharpie and a utility knife or X-Acto knife. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to make this. Our butterfly body, and I'm just going to grab a Sharpie here. I'm just going to trace this, and this doesn't have to be exact, just a general shape. So we're going to trace this. I always like to make a pattern when I'm doing this. This way my bodies end up coming out to be very similar. All right, so it's pretty easy. I'm just going to use a utility knife that I have in my craft supplies. And we're going to just follow our shape here. These straight parts are easy. The curves are a little bit harder, so we're going to make little cuts in order to follow our shape. Turn it over, and you can kind of see where you have cut, and you're just going to go over again to cut through this other side. You can see some of the places aren't as deep, so I'll go turn this back over and go over those again. Pressing a little bit harder so we can see the indentation on the other side. Okay. Much better. Matter of fact, it's almost cut all the way through. Slice that there, because this will be easier to take it apart. Okay, this part I'll keep. All right, now we have our rough of our body. put away our sharp. We're gonna then get our wings. Gonna cut off the elastic and our tag. Then we're going to put the center right across the neck area here. And I'm going to take a pair of needle nose pliers and poke some holes. And these are going to be for my zip ties. Now, I'm going to press and kind of lift so that goes all the way through. You don't want to make too big of a hole. And as you see, that does rip a little bit, and I'm going to show you a trick. So I'm going to take some duct tape and pull off a couple of pieces. Not too big. Well, that one ripped, but that's okay. We only need it big enough to go, we're going to go this way. I'm going to press this down good, and I'm not going to worry about it cutting that off. I'm going to go back here and poke those holes again through the duct tape. These will help the zip ties from pulling all the way through. And we'll repeat the same here. Okay. So now we will go ahead and put our zip ties in before we cover. So we're starting on the back side and we're putting it in the hole, turning it over, bringing it around. Okay, so about like that. Now the next thing we're going to do is cut a piece of fabric, and the fabric, you could make it any color you want. I just happen to have some black, and this is a thick kind of a canvas, and this will work just fine. I didn't bother ironing this, so what I'm going to do is put my neck piece kind of where that fold was. And I'm going to go about like this, about an inch around. So that's our rough covering. I'm going to actually chop off the end here because we're going to end up trimming some of this down here. Now the next step we're going to do is I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to make, we don't need too many slits along the sides where it's straight, but you need more slits when you're going around round surfaces, and this makes it so that you can conform the fabric to the curve. So I'm going to actually not even cut until about here. There. So my glue gun is all ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue one side, and then we're going to stuff this, and then we will glue the other side. So I I'm going to start on the head, and I'm going to go just a little bit around, more than halfway. Start here. And you're going to overlap these. You can always add more glue in there if you feel. You also don't want to cut it too much. Okay, so there's our rough frame. These will tighten up a bit when we get it stuffed. Let me grab my stuffing here. So I have found that I can get away with stuffing a lot of things with my extra shopping bags that I have hanging around. So let me show you how to do that. We use a couple small ones for the head. So I'm just gonna kind of pull these out and kind of roll it up on itself. I don't want all that air in there. So I'm gonna put this in and push it all the way up to the top. To use these pipe cleaners that kind of have the big chunks, and I like to fold them in half, kind of pinch this, and then we will eventually glue that underneath and curl them however you want to curl them, but I'm not going to do that right now because they're just going to get in the way. But we'll get them all ready. All right. So before we go any further, we're going to take our blue ribbon and cut us a piece to go around the neck. This makes this part a whole lot easier to do it before. Okay. Working with black on your workstation, you can get all kinds of stuff. Glitter, glue, who knows what. So we'll just kind of clean off my workstation here. All right, so we are ready to put this together. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here. Close our zip ties. And this is all ready to go. we have our little butterfly. You could just put the antenna on and call it good, but I like to dress it up and make it even fancier. But we don't want to add too much because we don't want to completely cover. What I'm going to do is just pop my pipe cleaners through the butterfly wings. Sometimes they snag on the wing themselves. You just have to pull it through. Just going to pull into place, and I think I want this kind of more to one side than the other. Okay. So now we're just going to twist these together, and I'm going to twist these ends together. Leave me a hanger. Okay. Now we can play with our bow. Open our loops, spread them apart. Trim our tails. So this would also be a stopping point. You could add a simple bow and just call it good. And that's actually pretty cute just like that. A little bit of sparkle, a little bit of dress up. You could go with a little bit of a simpler bow, but I'm trying to do these as a set. They won't be exactly the same as the one that I showed you before because it's not the exact same ribbons. But close enough. All right, so what we're going to start with then is we're going to start with a couple pieces of this greenery. Want two long ones and a couple shorter ones. Now we just have our antenna to put on. And I'm going to grab one of my clips. we're going to clip that on there. Hold it good and tight. All right, so with our Dollar Tree butterfly wings, we made a body. We covered it with black fabric. We stuffed it with grocery bags, and we made a bow, and we decorated it with red, white, and blue flowers, a little bit of greenery, and there we go. It's still pretty lightweight. I think these would be great outside, hanging in your trees, hanging from your lights, from light posts if you have them. They would go good inside too. So thank you for joining me today. We will see you again next time.